Like, if you can't sleep on a giant mattress in a climate-controlled room, you think Frodo was sleeping fine up there on Mount Doom? You know?
No.
Right.
Like, hard no.
Like, who are you? Wacko and
something.
Barf or something like that. What's up, everybody? That's what you just need to fade it in. Like, instead of fading out, we fade into just a random conversations before you start.
Trying to get that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mattman, Sir Capes a lot. I put capes on everything. I'm the comfortable cape crusader, and I fight the things that keep you up at night. I'm also the resident sleep superhero at Sweet Dreams Mattress and Furniture of Lake Norman. Lake Norman, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte. We got your game plan for better sleep and comfy home furnishings. You can enjoy your family like it's vacation every day. I'm also part of FAM Crew, fam.news. FAM stands for Furniture, Appliance, and Mattresses. It's an industry plugged-in network of people at fam.news. It's awesome. We got the Dos Marcos, Adrian, and Alex. Both of them are some of our producers and behind the scenes, but man, they don't get enough credit for making things happen. So you can go there for news articles, podcasts, and video stuff like this. So it's all just to make local independent retailers better, give you information and resources. You want to stand out? Come join the fam, and we'll help you out. And I'm joined here today by Zach Moore.
How's it going, everybody?
What up?
What is the craziest thing you've ever put a cape on?
Oh, well, I put a cape on my dog.
Uh-huh.
Down here, I have my Christmas cape, but I wear this without the mat suit.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, you can't really see my cape when I'm sitting in this chair.
Sure.
I was thinking about putting a cape on the chair.
Uh-huh.
And I make these now, by the way. So this is like personally sewn by myself. I use a machine.
By Mattman.
Yeah, I'm using a machine for a lot of the stitching, but then you got to hand stitch things like buttons.
Most superheroes start off that way.
Yes.
Hand stitching.
Yeah.
Underrated fact and skill of most superheroes: knitting and sewing.
You know,
maybe not knitting.
I'll tell you what, it's super handy to have.
Yeah.
So my wife, she had this bag, and it like she was like putting it on, and she put way too much stuff in it.
Sure.
So it tore, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And so then I was just like, "Hey, wait, I got this."
Yeah.
And then I repaired it. And then like those are brownie points that are really hard to lose.
Yeah.
Because not only did she keep the bag, you saved her from having to buy a new one. Go through that experience, and it's good as new.
Yeah.
So,
learn to sew. You could be a superhero.
Yeah. Oh, you have no idea. So, well, hey, Zach, you and I like to hang out. We like to have adult beverages and discuss things about better sleep, which often is us discussing things about being awake.
Yes.
What you got for me today from the internet?
Okay. So we have a couple things we're going to talk about today.
Oh!
And I know
I got to bed at 9:31 last night. I think it was my bedtime, so I'm ready.
Yeah. And I know that you're a video game guy, a video game superhero.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah. And so this was on the subreddit D&D memes, which D&D means Dungeons and Dragons for those that don't know. And
nice.
The title was I want a realistic game. So this would be like somebody in the group saying like we want more realism from our dungeon master, right?
When you're playing a video game, if you can imagine that you're there and you're fully immersed,
that's what they want.
In D&D, when you're making a party, these are made up things. Everybody sits around a table, but for the folks of a creative mind, the fully immersion game, or when there's more realistic rules, then the game is more fun because it's harder.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the post. It says, so this would be like the real person. Humans are, you struggle to get a full night's rest in a climate-controlled room, sleeping in on a big soft mattress, so like imagine the perfect conditions, and you yourself are having trouble falling asleep. Your player as your character, you say, yeah, my character can totally get a long rest while sleeping in the bog of eternal mosquitoes and uneven rocky ground, and I get all my spell slots back, right? So the idea that like you as a actual human, you struggle to sleep in this awesome room, but then your character has the ability to just if this is like Lord of the Rings, can just sleep in Mountain Doom.
So, in more context, what I think you're saying is, it sounds like a dungeon master wrote this.
Yeah.
Because they lead the game, and so what happens is their players, like to get to the bog of too many mosquitoes, like you have to fight a couple things. You use up all your skills for that day.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to have a terrible night's sleep.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm going to wake up and immediately want to use all those skills over again. Like there's no handicap for a terrible night's sleep, which is exactly how it works in the real world.
Right. Like if you can't sleep on a giant mattress in a climate-controlled room, you think Frodo was sleeping fine up there on Mount Doom? You know?
No.
Right.
Like hard no.
Like who are you?
Right. Yeah. So but that's just the gamer. It's just like no, yeah. It's just funny because then like how
no, my character went to bed. I want all my stuff back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want my skill slots back or whatever.
And if I don't sleep good tonight, I mean, I know I'll be exhausted tomorrow.
Yeah.
But not my character.
Right.
My character gets all the skills. I think it's hilarious.
And not to call out Lord of the Rings, I mean, I think J.R.R. Tolkien did a pretty good job at showing that, like, throughout the journey, Frodo and Sam were pretty exhausted the whole time.
So we always go to the comments because the comments.
I don't want to get at me's.
Here's one of the comments is I'm often accused of having a cheat code or something like that because I can sleep anywhere, anytime. Put me in a forest and a pile of leaves. I'll do my 8 hours of sleep on it.
I wonder if they were like enlisted.
Even if they
you
were,
hear that a lot.
The quality of sleep that you get is really important. So if you just sleep for 8 hours and it's a really low quality, is that as good as sleeping for 6 hours of a much higher quality?
Yeah.
To be argued, the 6 hours is better.
Yeah.
To be argued.
Okay.
There's no clear cut on that.
But do you think? Let me go back a step too. Do you think you should sleep in a climate-controlled room? Like, do you think that you should set yourself up for, like, the perfect sleep? Or should you get used to having sleep in other environments so that way you can sleep easier or fall asleep easier, right? Because I think you can make an argument either way, right?
Well, so then that's like United States of America is a blessed country where we have a lot of climate-controlled environments. Yeah. And so I went to Portugal this last summer, and I stayed at a hostel. It was like 86 degrees, according to my phone. I turned on the air conditioning machine. It's like a 300-year-old building in Portugal, so that it doesn't have AC. It's really loud. Yeah. So the French people in the room turned. I'm not saying these. It could have been French people. It could. Everybody in Europe is just used to that heat.
You hate Swedes. You hate the Swiss. Now we're going after the French.
I love the Swiss. Swiss cheese is great. But like that's just it. They were so used to it, they turned it off because it was loud.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it.
Yeah.
It also made the room too cold. They didn't like it. They told me both. So it was.
You're like dying.
Not so much because just
80 degrees, I'm dying.
I think you brought up a great point. Is you kind of need to train yourself to sleep in a few different environments because if you could only be in the plush posh place, then there's going to be times where you do not sleep good,
right?
Because you don't have control. So I just like relaxed for a moment, like the window was open. I just kind of was breathing in, breathing out. I didn't use a top sheet at all, so just sleeping kind of mostly in my clothes. It was a hostel. I'm not going to be in like underwear.
Yeah,
that's weird, at least for me.
Yeah, you've seen the movie.
So also I'm fully clothed, basically sleeping in a hot room. So that's even worse. But after relaxing, I could kind of feel the breeze, and then I went to sleep.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of that, though, trying to sleep in the other extreme of cold, that I don't like. Because if it's too cold, I am freezing.
Yeah.
Because a couple weeks later, I went to New York. We did a gig in Pennsylvania, up in the mountains, and it was literally in August. So it's like, oh, it's August, it's hot, right? Well, not when you're up in elevation. And so that night it got to like 44 degrees, and all I had it was like a couple of T-shirts to keep myself warm. And that night I barely slept at all. I was like shaking and like super cold, and just warm enough, and you just kind of. But so if I had to choose, I would like to sleep hot.
Interesting. I feel like you're in the minority there.
I am in the minority.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people need. I sleep hot. Like they don't
Like
work
set
on
it to 62.
and they don't work on that sleeping uncomfortable
Yeah.
to understand. And I also have a lot of great context because I know that sleeping in a warm, safe, comfortable environment is kind of like the human.
Yeah.
It's like a baby. So that's
it's
my
the womb.
my mindset's unique on that.
Well, this is a great segue into the next post, which was an Ask Reddit. So somebody going on there and asking the internet a question.
These are fantastic.
And they say, what do you do to stop sweating so much in bed at night? So you're talking about sleeping hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so some of the comments in here are interesting. The top rated comment is actually one that said that this could be a medical problem and you might want to go see a practitioner about it, which I had never really heard of that before. But I mean, I guess some people, I feel like I sleep hot and I sweat sometimes, but maybe this guy's really getting after it, soaking through. Like I would think that there's a severity here where if you're hitting a certain level, it's like, yeah, you should go talk to a doctor.
100%. So that was another one. So you sent me this over early, so I got to do a little R&D on this one. And reading that, someone had said stage 4 breast cancer.
Yeah.
Night sweats were a sign of that. Like with women with things like going through menopause later in life, like that's like, which one is it? So you do need to go if you have like profuse night sweats, but like you're saying, sweating through. So give you an example here that I also lived through. I had a hip replacement in 2021.
Sure.
And the first 3 nights out of the hospital, I had some hot linens because I went up, I went and got some inexpensive stuff and put it on a mattress that was like a really thick and heavy mattress. And when I woke up in the middle of the night, I had to, I could kind of walk a little bit, but the whole mattress was like the protector was soaked. Like mattress was fine, but protector, sheets, all that was soaked. So, when the first time I got out of it,
medication you were on?
No,
just because you're recovering from a surgery, so your body's kind of in
so.
overdrive, kind of like healing itself.
Yeah, metabolic activity, like you're working hard.
Yeah,
it's probably even when you're
important
sick.
Part of sleep.
So, but then the thing is when I got back, so when you get out of bed when it's hot and you've sweat in it, that sucks. But when you go back into bed, that's disgusting because now it's like cold and wet and nasty.
Yeah.
So that's the when people are like, you'll be
like
fine.
Bad to extra bad.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that I didn't really have a perspective of and didn't care enough about when people sleep hot. Like I don't like sleeping in a hot condition is one thing, but night sweats are not cool. So you can try things like the bamboo sheets. You can try the Omniphase mattress protector.
Well, I think that's what some people said in here too.
Get
away from sheets that are synthetic material. Go to cotton and bamboo.
But if you are still sleeping hot and it's like the sweating through everything, you should go see a doctor.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. And also, like, keep in mind what you did the day before, though.
So what about this other comment?
Don't be concerned if you like are night sweating because you just like drank 15 beers and had like a tub of ice cream and then went to bed.
I think
you're
you probably have to pee like 6 times.
Yeah, maybe you
okay, so then what about this guy? He's like, I always keep one leg outside the covers.
Very popular.
Helps your body regulate the temperature. Yeah, this guy got like 600 upvotes.
Yeah.
And he said it's proven to elicit better quality sleep. Yeah. Oh, that's proven. Is it?
No link there. No backup on that claim. Oh, you have something?
No, I mean like it's just a ridiculous claim.
Oh,
like,
yeah, proven.
Which then like 400 people are like, yeah.
Yeah, this guy says, yeah, but monsters.
Yeah, no, so that's it.
Like, funny.
Okay, so obviously if you try this, I've got a friend who sleeps on her stomach and she lets her feet dangle off because she's upside down and her feet are pointed down.
She's upside down.
So yeah, like she's on her stomach, so then her feet point down.
Yeah.
So she lets them hang off the end of the bed, and I can't do that because I'm just.
She's pretty tall?
No, but she just sleeps down on the mattress so the feet hang off.
Gotcha.
But then me and many people that responded to this started like, what about things that keep you up at night, like for real, which is like monsters or your brain? Like, how do you keep one leg out?
Yeah.
So then my solution to this is, because I did some rigorous testing on this for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was I couldn't do it. So what I ended up doing is doing half, but the opposite way. I cover up my legs, but I let my torso out.
Sure. And
have a top sheet on it. And I'm fine. So I still cuddle with top sheet. You got warmth on the lower body, But what they're really saying here is that when you keep a leg out, there's like an opening in the covers for air to flow through the covers. So you just really need an opening or a hole, if you will. So you have to generate that somehow. So when I leave half of it off of my body, there's plenty of stuff. But if it comes up to my shoulders and I'm tucking in, there's no airflow at all. So to do maybe a device or some sort of pillow that you would drape the stuff over so that you can be under the covers, but there's some airflow, is a better way to do it if you're scared that your leg's going to get bitten by.
Which I don't think is a real fear.
Man. Oh, no, it is.
For an adult?
If anything hangs off the bed, I'm
like, what if a raccoon breaks into my
Freddy
house tonight?
Krueger movies just come flying at me.
It's funny, though, the people that they got so many, I would assume it got so many upvotes because it's really popular, like leaving a leg out of the covers. Like, that's not unheard of. But then some of these comments people are like, seriously, I'm going to try that tonight. It's like you've been sleeping
hot
for your entire life, I would assume. You've been at least asleep at some point in your life. And you were hot and you never tried, well, maybe I'll take some of the covers off. Maybe I'll only sleep with half. I mean, it's not rocket science, folks. It's like, and I don't even think that that's the answer. Like, if you are, I think there's probably better answers than leaving your foot out. Like, I would try the bamboo or the cotton sheets first. Although that is a money investment, and I understand if you don't have the money.
Well, control what you can control.
Right.
But like bed fans are great, like oscillating fans in the room.
But this was interesting. The guy that was talking about cotton or bamboo sheets, he said less than 500 thread count.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because I'm a sucker for the marketing of give me
better quality.
Give me
1,000.
Number. Yeah.
Woo.
Right.
So a bed sheet, right? This is a bed sheet. When you have a 300 thread count, it's 300 threads. When you have 500 thread counts, they stack the threads. And so that's what makes it higher thread counts. So then when you keep stacking threads to an 800 thread count, they get a higher number. It might feel one way, but it's just more material that ends up being less
trapping
breathable.
Heat.
So like bamboo sheets, it's a round fiber. You don't need nearly as much of it to make it feel silky and wonderful. And it ends up being much more temperature regulating, especially in the summertime.
So thread count's kind of bogus.
Yeah, maybe.
Or it can be a lie.
There was a while where it was marketed that more is better.
Yeah,
but then
that's what I
other
thought.
Materials came into play, and now, like for us, the bamboo sheets we sell are like yoga pants for your mattress. So it feels great, especially in the summertime. But we love them in the winter too. So it's just stuff that you wear.
Try that.
Yeah,
we sleep with a. I don't sleep with a comforter. We sleep with like a quilt.
Yeah,
a little thinner, and we actually bought. We were at a store, and
it's okay if it's not ours.
I just don't want to,
Yeah.
Anyways, we bought a new king bed, 6-piece with the two, all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Returned it because it's just I can't sleep with a regular comforter. It's just too hot. I have to have like the quilt or just like the blanket,
Dude,
and same thing with my wife. She didn't like it either.
My wife uses one, I use another. And down the middle, it splits. So that's actually how we keep our sleeping climates cool. Is we don't even use the same.
How do you make
quilt.
the bed?
I make it. I literally put her
half
pillow.
And half.
The top sheet is shared, but then half drapes off her side, half drapes off my side.
You do two twins?
No, I just use two queens.
Queens.
That way, in case you do have to get one, you can share it.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah. There was more funny stuff on here. One guy was also saying, cut the booze and sweets.
Yeah.
You not only does the sugar that you eat from that like cause you to sleep hot, but there's a really long story of how like glucagon gets into your bloodstream with things that you could eat, which then glucagon requires more moisture to be around it, these molecules, and you end up having a lot of water weight, which then gets cleared out during your nightly metabolic activity, which then causes you to pee a lot at night. So if you're peeing a lot at night or sweating a lot at night, it could be that you just eat too many carbs or sugary things throughout the day. And that's according to Sean Stevenson's Eat Smarter. So like if I got to pee like 6 times and that's a problem, well, okay, you do have to look at nutritional things before you like drink all your water, earlier in the day, but then things you eat also cause you to retain a lot of water, which could be another reason you have a moisture problem in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy, he fired me up. That was like someone on the internet who's just like, I did some research somewhere, but maybe he just knew that in general.
Sure.
You know? Maybe he didn't have to like read like, you know, or listen to an 18-hour audio book about nutrition
to say don't eat carbs before
yeah.
bed.
Yeah. Or live in Wales.
Yeah.
Or Canada. It's cold up there. You won't sweat in the night, you know?
Maybe. Depends what you have.
Yep.
A lot of merino wool up there. That's pretty warm.
Here's one guy. I don't sleep. Sleeping is for the weak.
Ooh. You'd like to get that guy's number.
No, I don't.
And like,
look, I help who I can help, but you have to make the decision you want to sleep. But someone who's telling me that they don't need to sleep because that makes them weak.
The first step is admitting it.
I'll tell you what, like I'll go up against that guy in some sort of competition.
Yeah.
Like put me up, put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Like what are we gonna do? You're gonna run a mile? You're
Ooh.
exhausted. You don't have a game plan.
Yeah.
I'm not exhausted. And even if I wasn't running, fine. Pick something that you do really well. You don't sleep. I'll sleep. Let's see who does a better job.
Yeah.
So we start a timer. 18 hours goes by, and we compete.
Yeah.
And I will kick that person's butt every single time. That actually sounds like a really good. Like, could you imagine like the sleep Olympics, sleep Olympics?
Yeah.
Where like you take a bunch of people doing things that they're like highly specialized in. That I get like 1 hour of training to learn, but they just like stayed up for 18 hours, like overnight.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like wide awake when their circadian rhythm's on the upswing. And then I compete against them in this thing. And it's like, it could be mind, it could be body. It doesn't really matter. But like,
Soul.
Can I learn a skill and do it better well rested than they do it when they're totally exhausted? One night of sleep. Dude, I'm pitching that. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
That's why I did this. That's why we're here today.
But I don't know about that in terms of it depends what it is. Depends if it's something that can be learned.
Sure.
Like if this guy's defusing a bomb.
Okay.
You know.
Well, then both of us are going to fail.
That's,
like if you're exhausted,
and everybody in the stadium dies.
Just whatever. I don't care.
Just
Cut
end it.
Cut it. The green wire. Like who really cares? I'm exhausted.
But it's funny how some things are like some things are seen as negative to sleep through, and some things are like positive to sleep through, right? Like people would say like, okay, like I don't want to sleep hot, like, or how do I stop sweating so much? But it also on the other side, it's just like, how can I sleep through noise, right? I think I could see people asking like that, right? Rather than just saying, well, just don't sleep when it's noisy, right? I just think it's kind of our conversation before that we were having about we treat our bedrooms as these palaces, and I want to make it the most comfortable place for me to sleep in. But sometimes you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Like when you raise a child, they always say,
"Oh yeah,
don't tiptoe around it," right? Because if you tiptoe around it, then it's going to get used to it being quiet. So you want them. It's funny that you're like,
cue the marching band, babe.
Yeah, it's funny that you're like, you wouldn't want someone to sleep hot, but you would want someone to sleep through noise, right?
But just what you just said, though. So you don't want to sleep hot, but you need to try to make sure you can sleep when you're uncomfortably warm, maybe.
And I don't know how you do that. I don't know, you know, because you're in the business of making your bedroom a paradise.
Well, yeah, but so we had a mattress that you could like heat and cool from like a water pad on it.
Yeah.
And I thought when we first got that, I'd lay on that thing every day for 20, 25 minutes, product testing, and put it as cold as possible. And I was just like sitting there, it's relaxing, but not really. I just there. And then I get up because 20, 25 minutes, I'm bored. Great. Maybe customers didn't come in the store. However, then the one day I decided, you know what, let's just go hot this day. 45 minutes later, some lady's just like, pardon me, do you work here? And I'm sleeping on the bed. So like it knocked me out. So that was like 8 years ago that happened. But that was at the moment where I shifted like, okay, so how is it for weeks I didn't fall asleep when it was cold, but I'd put it it was like I put it as hot as it would go, and I was out like a light.
Yeah.
So sleeping hot sucks, but you kind of need something like that to sleep because you can't sleep when it's cold.
Yeah.
So I'd say like test yourself. Or maybe, don't go all the way down. Try to relax. Like when I was in Portugal, it was like a meditate for a moment, kind of like feel the natural airflow in the room. And, you can always try to have a fan on you at least, but it's not easy.
No. I wish I could sleep.
Point.
I wish
Great
I could
point.
sleep on a plane,
Dude, the moment it goes wiggle, I'm wide awake.
Yeah.
Like, ah!
I envy anyone who can like sleep anywhere, especially sitting on a plane. I want to sleep on a plane so bad.
I can nap anywhere, but I can't sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I couldn't
I've got
fall
a really
asleep
low bar.
on them. I couldn't fall asleep.
No, I try. I've traveled. But
Oh,
also,
I've stayed up the night before. And maybe that's even worse, right? Because I think like, oh, you know what? If I don't go to sleep the night before, I'll just be crazy exhausted and I'll be able to fall asleep on the plane. And I probably don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then I'm just. And then I'm just. It doesn't matter.
Really and now you've lost the second day.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you are almost.
Now I'm really
now
bad.
I'm angry. I'm mad. I've got upper respiratory problems, gastric, intestinal, whatever. And then your day 3 is just like you show up to that event. You're supposed to be on vacation, and you're like,
it's worse.
I'm like the worst mood of my life.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You ever listen to Taking Care of Babies?
No.
Okay. That's not a plug, but we follow her sleep training for our kid.
Does it work?
It does, and she talks a lot about this idea of like a tired tank and like but like also dispels like myths of like if you let your kids nap during the day that they won't like fall asleep at night and stuff like that. So kind of getting into the idea of like to sleep on the plane, like maybe I should fall asleep.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to Google this. This is no, because the. All right, hold on 1 second. It's like, okay, so we have multiple circadian rhythm moments throughout our lives.
Yeah.
So when you're young, you have multiple sleep times a day.
Yeah.
When you're toddler, but then you grow up a little bit and you go to 2 versus 3. And then when you're a teenager and in those years, your circadian rhythm actually knocks out a couple hours, oddly. And so then they thought it was because of the way that we evolved. Oh man, I wish I could think of the word. Because of the way we evolved, like teenagers back in the survival days, they would stay up later because they were more alert, but also the coming of age. So that's how you'd like go away from the pack and kind of be yourself is when we're all sleeping.
Right.
So then like people today are like, oh, my teenager stays up till midnight. That sucks. Which, that kind of sucks, but also their circadian rhythm might be more genetically modified at that point to have that behavior. So you think they want sleep more, they sleep in, but really that's just kind of like how we're built. And then it snaps right back for like a majority of our life to where people normally have their normal rhythm. Yeah. But then it comes back to like earlier as you get older. And
you sleep less.
Right. So she's onto something there as far as like, should you let your kids nap? Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Because then if they have a natural circadian rhythm that might take them in and out of sleep multiple times a day. So you're just being more aware of that versus like, I'll keep this baby up. I'll keep it cranky to have my sleep schedule.
And it won't make a difference. That's the whole point. It's like you're just causing yourself pain.
No, but you're also causing the baby pain.
Oh, well,
because they need that sleep. A baby needs as much REM sleep as it can possibly get because that's like brain forming sleep.
Yeah.
So like that's the sleep that really drives nerves and so that you get good emotional control, like high attention and focus. And this is all stuff I'm quoting from, like all of this that I'm referencing here is from Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep. Mm-hmm. So for basically science, we were, Einstein was writing gravitational waves with an abacus with mathematical equations 100 years ago. But as soon as 2001 or as recent as 2001, science didn't really know why we sleep at night. Knows what says kind of we need it, but not why. So that was like a really big thing that he solved or is solving. I don't think they still know, but they were just using today's technology to prove gravitational waves exist, like Einstein.
They're drawing a point.
Ago. But then also now we can also see why we sleep.
Right.
And that's one of the things he talks about is your rhythms change. So that's really good that you guys like went and researched that and got some advice and it works.
Yeah.
Great. You're going to be a great dad.
I already am a great dad.
You're making tons of noise while that kid's sleeping.
I try, yeah.
Oh,
the marching band comes in.
You already are a great dad. You're right. You're right. Sorry. No, you'll be great one day.
Toot my own horn there.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're doing deep dives on sleep. We're doing deep dives on internet stuff. And if you're interested in seeing more, you can always check out our content at fam.news or go to sleepsuperhero.com to see everything that we got out there. Ladies and gentlemen,